Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everybody? Geoff Mosher, Adam Caplan for another Inside the Birds, and training camp enters officially for the Eagles in week 2. But Adam, this we know will be a very significant week because at some point, we'll talk about it, the pads should come out and we can really start to get a full evaluation. The coaches will be able to get evaluation. We'll be able to get our intel. And that's, to me, when the competition at camp really starts to ratchet up, as Brian Dawkins used to say. Everybody looks good in shirts and shorts, but how do you look when the pads come out? Because I think you've seen this too. Sort of certain guys whose speed, their play speed changes once they get these bulky pads. And then there are certain guys who just, like AJ Brown, doesn't matter. Pads come out, he's a Corvette, no matter what.
Yeah, the urgency ratchets up a little bit when the pads come on. So yeah, there's no doubt. I know they're not hitting, but we got the thud, which means you get a little bit of an elbow, forearm, but you can't take one to the ground. That's the thing, is you don't. Now the Ravens will tackle a little bit. I know the Lions, the Raiders under Antonio Pierce is no longer their head coach, but they shocked me tackling for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
In fact, when there was a lot of tackling going on in the early 2000s, I never saw it for more than like 5 or 7 minutes at a time. That was something special last year. We'll never see that again.
Right.
So Tuesday or Wednesday seems to be the target day from which make the most sense, because you got to get through the 5-day acclimation period, and by then that's when the earliest they can do it. But bottom line is we're expected sometime this week. They only had 3 practices last week, so Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I was at the Saturday practice, which was good. They had 1 walkthrough. They didn't practice on Sunday. So again, they've only had 3 practices, but we got intel on some interesting situations, which some we actually have not talked about yet. And one you had brought up at running back potentially, and you might be onto something, but we'll talk about it.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. I want to remind everybody we had an unbelievable chalk talk with John DiFilippo, a 2-parter for our Patreon folks. He broke down OTAs, and then also from a quarterbacks and an offensive coordinator perspective, quarterbacks coach and an OC perspective, how it's structured, training camp, how you structure it, how you work with young quarterbacks compared to veterans. You asked a great question about that and got a great answer. He also had experience with Scott Loeffler, who's the new quarterbacks coach for the Eagles. He talked about that. So you can watch that all on our Patreon channel, patreon.com/InsideTheBirds. And of course, everything we do from Inside the Birds standpoint is put on Patreon first and without ads. So that is one of the biggest perks of being a Patreon member, is you can get everything early before the mainstream gets it, and with no ads. Sometimes people say like, man, you guys have so many commercials. Well, we don't insert the commercials. Those are automatically inserted. So we apologize for that, but that's how we're at the mercy of the people who insert the commercials. But the best part is on Patreon, for a pretty relatively inexpensive fee, if you ask me, you get it all upfront and all ad-free. Not to mention, Adam, right, all the great bonus content like Chalk Talk.
Yeah. Chalk Talk and Ask an Eagle we got coming up for August, which we're looking for. We had Vinny Curry last month. He was absolutely phenomenal.
One of the best.
One of our favorite. We got to get back. We'll probably have Mike Quick on in the fall, because Quickie, we want to see him because he's at every practice. I want him to see everything, then pick his brain on it. I love doing that. And you know what we're also going to do? I'm going to ask my friend Moro Reese, who I had a great talk with him. His memory, like, God, I can't remember the running back. See, and you do the same thing. Like when you're at practice, you see a number, you go, oh, 36, Brian Westbrook, Mike Zordich, for those of you a little bit older.
Go through the 36.
What's that?
I said, we are Penn State. You said Mike Zordich.
Yeah, right. Mike Zordich. That's right. It was the safety. And also played for the Jets, Rich Kotite guy. And you could go, and then Zion McCullum, Tristan McCullum, I think, is now 36.
Yep.
So it was just funny. We were going through some of the running backs, and then Merrill brought up a guy. He goes, "It's before your time." I go, "I remember some of the 70s." He goes, "No, it was in the 60s. Is he something?"
Oh my God!
Those of you are, I know. And I was like, I should have texted him because I wanted to remember the name because I want to look the guy up. So when I see him, if I see him today's Monday, I'll ask him again. Then I'll have to search for it because it's sometimes hard when you're trying to watch practice, but I'll remember. It was easy for those of you old timers. I can't remember the last name, but
did this guy play with Pete? Did he play with Pete Pihos?
Pete Pihos, right? Sure, could have been, or Pete Retzlaff. I don't know, but it was great seeing him, and also welcome our new member John, who recently joined, and get with those Wednesday live streams, man. It's something else. Sometimes we do an hour. This one was a little bit over 35 minutes, but sometimes we do an hour. I remember one we did during the holidays, and a bunch of us didn't go away, so I think wound up doing an hour and a half. So you never know. You never know.
Nice.
It's fun.
Good stuff. Good stuff. That's all patreon.com/InsideTheBirds. Let's talk about the first week of training camp. Andrew DeCecco was at every practice. I was at one. You were at one separately, so that's good. A lot of different eyes. I know. First of all, you ran into somebody on Military Appreciation Day, which I think was Saturday, correct?
Yeah, this is super cool. So a guy kind of tapped me on my shoulder, and it was in military, in Air Force. It was Dan Knapp, super nice guy, big fan of our show. He got to say, I think he said hello to Andrew. But the cool thing about what Dan saw, and Dan's Air Force veteran, is that, for Military Day, which is Eagles do a great job with that. Perry Nickerson talked to him. He got to talk to shake Sirianni's hand.
Nice. He
just had a great time. Dan, I'm so glad that you said hello. It's such a great thing that they do. I know my nephew Brian, who's in the Navy, grew up a big Eagles fan. Shout out to everyone who served, man. We salute you, and we appreciate your service. So it was great, Dan, to say hello. Made my day, man. It was super cool just to see people in the military. I get all choked up. For my father was a naval officer. My nephew Brian, and anyone who's watching who's in services, we appreciate it.
Absolutely. We always thank our veterans and our active military for their service on this show. No doubt about it. So let's also recap camp in general. I want to get just some of your own perspective because the last time we did a podcast, I had been to a practice, Andrew had been to all of them, and now you've been to one. What caught your attention?
I mean, I'd heard some, I always gather information from people, and then I make my own judgments or evaluations when I'm there, and then follow up with other people. But I know people, Hurts had a bad day. He didn't have a bad day on Saturday. First of all, you have to have context. Mm-hmm. This is the problem when some media go to practices. A guy misses 4 throws, so he's had a bad practice. He didn't have a bad practice. He had a couple that were deflected. He had one, and again, they didn't drop. I would argue, because it happened right in front of me. There was a 9 route from Hurts to AJ Brown. Brown had leverage on Ringo, but it was sort of a moon ball. It was a high arcing ball. I thought Ringo ran into Brown. No flag was called. The refs are there. They're at every practice, I think, just about. They didn't call it. I would have called it because, again, I saw it. They didn't call it. I thought Ringo got away with something. Now, he had a couple inaccurate throws. That's going to happen. Here's what I did like. This is important. There are, and we saw this also. If you saw Tanner McKee there, he did this as well. There were a number of inside the numbers throws, because we know that it's true. It's a fact, because the tape shows it. Hurts he's not an inside the numbers thrower. And this offense to me it's not, they're running a lot of the same stuff from last year, but Patullo's offense, is someone to work with him told me, might be a little bit more West Coast based. And again, this is only one practice, but I like the timing routes. Goddard was very active. I like seeing that and running after the catch, which he's outstanding at. I like what I saw. Hurts also had some big time tight window throws. It's the kind of stuff that I look for. Are you willing to make tough throws? Yeah, he had some inside. He did miss some, like comparatively to the first 2 practices where it was like ball out, accurate. This practice he missed a couple. It wasn't a bad practice. I think people were like, oh my God, he missed some throws, so all of a sudden he's not doing well. You got to be careful with what you see and who's evaluating.
Yeah. If this is an intentional thing, because this was the same observation I made in the practice I went to, he threw a ball to Dallas Goedert along the left seam between 3 people that if it was not put where it was at the time that it would have been either deflected or intercepted or maybe even hit the ground. So if this is intentional on his part because it's a part of the game he wants to improve on or work on, I think that's fantastic. And the fact that I wasn't there for the next one and you were, and you saw that too, makes me think that maybe it is a part of his game he's trying to do more starting at training camp. Andrew DeCecco brought up a great point. We've seen things at training camp. We've seen things repetitively happen at training camp and then just completely disappear in the regular season. So I also don't want to put too much stock into it, but it's been a pretty good development to see and something that we can continue to follow throughout.
Yeah, and remember, as we talked about a couple years ago, we were all there. Me, you, and Andrew were at training camp, and Swift was catching it seemingly like 10 passes at practice. We're like, all right, it's definitely happening.
Yeah.
This is why they trade for DeAndre Swift. And then DeAndre Swift has a career high in carries and yards as a rusher and not as a pass catcher. It's barely used.
Right.
So, like you said, like you can only go by what you see, and it's only 3 practices. But as we'll finish out with a quarterback in a second, but I don't like to make a lot of broad statements. We just go by what we see, and we got fooled 2 years ago. I'll admit it. You could say we missed on it, but we weren't like the only ones who saw it. It seemed like to be every practice Swift was catching. In fact, he caught some downfield passes. I can remember the one he caught a bomb downfield.
I know what you're thinking. The right sideline.
You were there at that one.
Oh, yeah.
We were, because I saw you and I go, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I don't know. I don't have any access to know what the hell happened with the passing game and why Swift didn't get it like we thought. I mean, he looked good as a runner, but he didn't get it. So now as far as the backs getting the ball in the pass game, Shipley, man, they ran a route with him. They line him up outside, then he motioned to the slot. I mean, you could just see you're not doing that. Sorry, AJ Dillon, that's not something you're doing with
I think AJ Dillon would be okay with not being motioned to the slot. Yeah. He doesn't want that.
He can move.
Yeah. What did you think of? I know you said you were going to talk about Dillon in general. That you thought maybe I was onto something. What did you observe?
Well, I know you said to start training camp, or maybe it was after the first practice because Andrew was talking about how much. When we did that little roundtable with him, how much work Dillon was getting. He's clearly been the 2 so far. That's not really up to debate. But again, Shipley's got more juice.
Yeah.
There's clearly a role for him, particularly on third down. By the way, he might be their hurry-up back, which was Gamo was their hurry-up back. So let's not just assume that under normal conditions that Dillon will be the guy who'll come in and Shipley won't. I'm not there yet. Not that we will be.
Right.
But I'm not. I get it. They got to evaluate Dillon, which is what you were talking about. That he's getting a lot of work. I think you were onto something a little bit.
Did you know? Did they run the ball like more than usual when you were there for an early camp practice?
They were. Well, it's funny because in OTAs they're all passing camps, so you can't really evaluate a running back, and running backs literally cannot get touched in OTAs. Here,
right?
You're not. It's not thud. It's not going to be what we're going to see this coming week. But you might see you might see a push or something.
Yeah. But as a running back, like that's good. Like you have to get skinny through a hole. You have to make a running back move. More. So you have to like test your body, your wiggle, like and all of that as a running back, and then see how that responds.
Yes. And the thing, we saw some checkdowns. Kyle McCord has a pretty good feel for what. I mean, I know he's the third string quarterback. It's way too early to call. It's way too early to call that battle, McCord versus DTR. Way too early. We only have 3 practices. I know some people are like, could they really keep 4 quarterbacks? Well, they kept 7 defensive tackles to start. Was it 7 2 years ago?
Yes. I tell you, the practice I went to, I almost thought it's unfair. Not unfair. Listen, the coach wants to put a player in position to succeed, but they ran a whole lot of I don't know if it was RPO or zone read, but he ran the ball quite a bit and look in a design manner, which is fine. That's if you're using DTR, you want to do that. But how do you then compare him? Like when you want to keep a quarterback over a guy that you're throwing the ball with 100% of the time? Eventually, you have to let DTR throw the ball too. But again, it might be an RPO. There may be the opportunities there, but he's dialing his own number. Nobody can know that other than the coaches.
Sure. And I would say this for anyone who gets to go to the training camp practices, which are generally season ticket holders or business clients, or if you go to the night practice, the one practice, the link, watch Tanner McKee get the ball out of his hands quickly, and you'll see the run after the catch yardage because he processes quickly. And for the second straight off season, he's moving pretty well. He moves better than you think because he looked like a statue. in his first training camp 2 years ago, but we started seeing him move better, more mobile, and he can move better than you think. And he's a big dude with an absolute cannon for an arm. And that it's funny because you see Hurts could within 20 yards, that ball comes out. Like he comes out really powerful right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, Tanner McKee is a giant. I mean, he's a really tall dude.
Yeah. Tall, big, strong arm, and you can see the mobility get better by the year as he gets more comfortable with the offense. He's not a statue, as we know. He's also not, Steve Young, but he can get around the pocket a little bit there.
Yep.
Let's talk about the receivers. The day I went, there was a lot of dink and dunk there. I think the one person who kind of caught a pass and got able to turn up field was Danny Gray, and we've talked about him a little bit. Andrew has been writing, and I think you also observed when you were there, Terrace Marshall sort of starting to find a nice little rhythm with Hurts.
Yeah, Terrace Marshall, he's getting past his 20 yards downfield. You're seeing his size. He's in the 6'3" range. He's well built. He stands out.
Yeah.
Again, it's early. He had a good offseason too. We talked about on the last show we did, we gave our intel from what happened with him with the Panthers, and it's applying himself. It's about, I'm told, bringing energy every practice throughout the practice, not for half of it. Mm-hmm. So far, he's got good energy. He's bringing it so far. He's on his third team. He's been cut before, so he knows at some point you're going to run out of chances. So he's definitely has urgency. And there's a real chance here to make this football team. There's no question about it.
Yeah. The one thing I gleaned while just watching him at training camp was you can see why he was a top, I think, 50 pick, right? Or 55 pick. To be 6'3", over 200 and to run the way he runs. I mean, he's got a lot of natural abilities, like the old Greg Cosellism of there's something in there. So if he can, I almost caught myself wondering, man, like what is his ceiling if he really does maintain focus all camp long and puts it all together, because he's the type of guy you can see JalenHurts trusting because he's big, strong, and can run. So obviously we got weeks to go, but I was pretty impressed.
Backup X. Now the one negative, and ties go to the runner, as they say. He doesn't really play on special teams. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Now, if he takes what he did in the offseason through these first three practices, it's kicking ass where it's obvious he's going to make the team. They're not going to worry about that he plays on special teams because he's going to earn it, because he can wind up being the backup X. With Brown's injury history, it's pretty important.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he makes it as the number 3 receiver and top backup X, which is what they wanted from
he won't be the 3. Dotson would be
no. I mean, like not, but Dotson's the 3, right? But let's say he impresses more than Dotson and he makes the team as the backup X, which would sort of be like the number 3 because you're the first guy off if the X gets hurt, right? Because that was the role they had in mind for Devontae Parker last year. If Parker was going to do well, it didn't happen. If he makes the team in that way, special teams isn't as important. But if he has an adequate camp and they like him, want to hold on, it's hard. You're right, for him to be like the 5th or 6th guy if he's not going to give special teams value. So that was a good point.
Yeah, he's actually now been on 4 Gs. I forgot about the Niners. He's actually totally forgot about that. Panthers, Niners, Raiders, and now the Eagles here. But he's just turned 25 in June. He's a relatively young guy. He's got a wonderful opportunity here to play for the world champs, the Super Bowl champs, excuse me. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens. But he stood out. And then, man, Anaya Smith is all over the place. I saw him take a slot screen. Mm-hmm. The thing that he did well, and again, you get, there's always an advantage when it happens right in front of you. And there were a number of plays for the offense right in front of me, and he took a slot screen. He waited, he set up his blockers, and he got downfield. He did a really good job. So he's been very active in camp, from what I understand. So he's healthy, by the way. He wasn't last summer.
Right. Hold on. Did you say, you must have said this wrong. I'm going to give you a chance to edit this.
All right.
A slot what?
Receiver, yeah.
A slot screen? Did you say
slot
screen?
Yeah, they actually executed it. Yeah, it's a miracle.
They ran a screen?
Yeah.
To a receiver? And it worked?
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Hold on.
I know.
Got to write this down.
You know why?
I can't believe it. Because it's training camp. That's why. Let's see.
He's wearing Mike Quick's number, 82.
Yeah, no, right. That's right. He is wearing Quick's number.
And LJ Smith's number. Excuse me. No, man.
Oh man, that hurts. Shout out to Highland Park, New Jersey, where LJ Smith is from. Wow. Okay, so screens. I didn't see any screens on my practice. I you know how excited I get, whether it's a tunnel screen or maybe even a tight end screen. I like it when I hear screens being run. I hope the Eagles can add that element to their offense this year.
Was it Sirianni's first year in 21 where the screens were embarrassingly bad? Like, really, I remember I used to go off and get really angry, really bothered me. Like,
I kind of think they've been embarrassingly bad for 3 years now.
I guess, I don't know, but I just remember one year it was literally in pain watching it.
Yeah.
So bad.
Now, occasionally they've run a good bubble, like the Packers touchdown that Goddard caught was a screen, right? It was sort of like a swing screen, right? He checked into it. That's a little bit different because, well, Goddard broke the same tackler 3 times on the way, so I feel like Goddard did all the work himself. And B, it's not like, well, when I think of screen, I like a good bubble or an inside jailbreak screen they used to call them, or the tunnel screen. Yeah, something where you get offensive linemen out there blocking and a little guy behind it, weaving his way through. I don't necessarily think these bubbles where you just quickly throw it to the left or quickly throw it to the right with 2 guys in front is some great screen, but that is the way most of them are these days.
I've mentioned the Tyrell Higbee height screen where it's a tunnel screen, but he literally gets so low. This guy's like 6'5". He gets so low you can't see him,
right?
And he explodes. So look, Goddard phenomenal running after the catch. You got a bunch. Calcaterra could run. Granson could run. EJ Jenkins. He looks the part. We'll see if he could push. See, so folks want to know what's going on tight end. It is way too early to know who's going to win the 2 job. Calcaterra still is in the lead, but we need to wait a couple weeks before we have a general idea. Right now, it's way too early to call that one.
Which one's 83? Sometimes I go with
Granson.
Brian. Yeah. So 83, I made a note the practice I was at. He's got a little. He's got some juice and shake to him, which we already know. Makuba did a good job actually of smothering him on a rollout that Hurts was looking for him on, or it might have been McKee. I forget at the time, but either way, I could tell he just moves he moves a little bit differently than the rest. 83 does. That's good. That's Kylan Granson, but that's not breaking. We've been saying he's the one of all the 3 the backup receivers that they signed that has that, juice, that wiggle that you would expect to see. He's more of a downfield guy if you're going to get the ball to him there. Right.
And also screens too. Yeah. Run after the catch. Yep.
Yeah. And not surprising, he's also a little smaller, if I'm not mistaken.
Number 6'2". Yeah. Number 6'2".
Yeah. Offensive line, I know Toth is still the backup center. I wonder if this week we'll see a little bit more of Drew Kendall in that spot. And right now, I think it was just one practice on Saturday that Kenyon Green got back to. So he's only got one practice under his belt, and he was with, I believe, the 3rd team.
He was, and then Trevor Keegan, by the way, took the 3rd team's. He took some snaps at center. It's the Cody Whitehair is by far the best free agent center, and I'm not saying they're looking at it right now, but we got to see Brett Toth, number 64. Get through this training camp before we say he's going to be the number 2 center, the backup center to Jurgens. And Jurgens, very limited. Like he watches most of practice, takes a little bit of work, but really not much. They're easing him back. You're coming back from the back surgery, so you got to be careful.
Yeah, Keegan's interesting. I don't think we would have been talking about this like at this time last year or at the end of the year when we were doing this year's preview, but Mailata and both Landon Dickerson kind of the way they just mentioned how, and Trevor Keegan is taking some snaps and looks pretty good too, was noteworthy to me. Like I wrote it down because it was more than one person. And because right now the backup center has no clear option, and because it shows that Keegan has stepped out of for now, you're only a left guard shadow here, and he's getting a little bit of an expanded role in camp. So he's somebody that we got to monitor as this thing goes, because if he's doing a pretty decent job, all of a sudden you're looking at him differently because he's more than just left guard guy. Like the Sua Opeta, you can only play left guard. It wasn't until Sua was able to transition over to right guard that the team felt like we can rely on this guy a little bit more, and he would get on the 53 or get elevated and start to play a little bit. So that would be a good feather in the cap if Keegan can snap.
It is very rare, though, to have a center 6'4" taller. It's extremely rare.
Yeah.
And Keegan is, I mean, first of all, remember, Brett Toth was the left tackle at Army. Eagles signed to be a backup left tackle. We know he's played every position now, but he's 6'6".
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, you got to crouch down. It's a little harder.
Right.
So we'll see. And I think Keegan's in the 6'5" range.
Yeah.
Over 6'5".
Jamal was 6'4", but Andy, before Andy hired Howard Mudd, Andy loved the big road grading interior offensive linemen. So Jamal Jackson was 6'4". I don't remember. I don't think
Nick
Bubba
Cole is what, 5'11", 6 feet?
Not Bubba. Yeah, Nick Cole was 5'9" on a good day.
500, yeah.
But wasn't Fraley was probably in that 6'1". I can check it.
Honey Buns, 6'1", 6'2", something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it depends on what you kind of like out of your linemen. But you're right that normally centers aren't that big. But Jamal was 6'4". He was a big dude.
Was he 6'4"? Okay.
Yeah. Fraley was 6'3". Jamal 6'4". So, but Andy liked that. Remember when Doug got hired as the coach, we were talking about Jason Kelsey. It's like, I don't know if he's going to fit, because Doug comes from the Andy road grader, and Kelsey's 2015 wasn't the greatest one. Even Kelsey has talked about he thought that they were going to get rid of him when Doug Peterson became head coach. But he
yeah, that's a 30 for 30 sure. When he was available to be traded, that and you heard Jason talk about it. Was it prior to the Super Bowl that the first one, the 17 one? I can't remember, like, because they have the videos out there, like when he was like, hey, and then trying to trade me, they were looking to trade me, or whatever the heck he said. I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly the language, but anyway.
Well, I would think this: if Jeff Stoutland is willing to play a 6'6", 350-pound, 40-pound, whatever, right guard, which is ordinarily tackle to size, if a guy who's 6'4" can snap really well and block really well, I have a feeling he'll get an opportunity to at least compete there and see.
You got to trust the Mekhi Becton call by Stoutland's one of the all-time decisions. I mean, if you're going to move a guy never played that position before, and no one in the league saw that, by the way, and it got laughed at, I could tell you it's a fact around the league.
Yeah,
the fact that it worked, and it worked pretty well. Got a nice free agent deal with the Chargers. You can't doubt anything Stoutland tries. You just can't.
Yeah. All right, you want to transition to defense?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll go to defense first. You got to hear a great word from our friends at Sky Motor Cars.
Sky Motor Cars in Westchester is a different sort of dealership. All it takes is one look at their Highline pre-owned vehicles that people all over the country want and need. Owner Brett Schiller, make sure you don't spend a dime of your money before you purchase the car. Sky Motor Cars allows you to make all the decisions regarding your next vehicle. At Sky Motor Cars, you never have to spend more than necessary. Visit SkyMotorCars.com today or call 610-918-7225.
All right, when you stop into Sky Motor Cars out there in Westchester, PA, make sure you tell them Adam and Jeff sent you. You will get a great deal, a great shopping experience. They have fantastic inventory, fantastic customer service. You can actually get a head start by going to SkyMotorCars.com and checking it all out for yourself. That is our friends at Sky Motor Cars. All right, defensively, what did you think? Because I know that I was a little taken aback, but and we talked about it, but I want to know you seeing it with your own eyes of Jordan Davis minus 26 pounds. Certainly,
I would say, because you have to look at, he lost weight last year, right? People forget he actually lost weight last year. Now I have no idea what his original weight was. We know it was over 350 at one point. Was he 360, 370? I have no idea.
Yeah,
but the thing where he lost it, folks, is he lost it in his chest. I'm not going to say he looks thin. Don't misunderstand me. But when you lose a massive amount of weight over 9 months, and obviously he has access to the Eagles weight room to build his body up, but he's not as broad. If you're watching me on YouTube, that's the thing that I noticed. His chest is like gone. It's just not.
Yeah,
not
I actually would say even like last year when he lost the weight, he was still like, he still had that nose tackle neck, that neck that kind of sticks out and the roundish puffed head. And this time I thought, wow, he kind of looks like one of those dudes who, when they finish playing their career, like 5 months later, you see they're a little bit different of shape. And he looked like I'm using shape as like like a rectangle square. He looked in a different shape than normal, like more slender, more upright, than sort of inflamed, if you will. I don't know, or oversized. Yeah.
Yes. So, I'm going to look for his combine weight because I'm very curious what he weighed. Jordan Davis was
wasn't it 360 or 355?
No, actually he was 341 at the combine.
Oh, that's right. I remember he had lost weight for the combine, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But as a rookie, he looked 350, 355, maybe 360. But
yeah,
the thing is, man, and you look at the combine numbers and you go, my God, nobody moves like this. I mean, he I'm looking at them. I'm like, wow. I mean, even his broad jump for his weight was good. It's over 10, which actually is impressive for a guy his size.
Yeah.
And the length, the 34-inch arms, left tackle length, hand size enormous, 10 3/4, 6'6" 3/8. I mean, you just, he may never be what the Eagles drafted him to be. That's the reality. But man, you can't teach size, and the fact that I know it's your fortune shouldn't have taken him this long. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But he's saying all the right things. Now he's just got to do it. Not going to perform.
Yeah, maybe you get like a Brandon Graham. It took Brandon 4 or 5 years before it really all sunk in. So maybe you'll get that.
He had to grow up. He had the injury. He had the ACL. He had to grow up. Stop blocking people on Twitter.
Yeah, stop worrying about what everybody's saying. Yeah, yeah. How about Moro Ojomo?
His first step. Now I would never call him thin. He is long.
Mm-hmm.
His arm over move, and he gets in there, man. You could see it. The thing we're not going to know is, as a full-time player, whatever that looks like, is 70% playtime, 50. We don't know yet, but you can be. It was hard to move Milt Williams because of his physical strength and his technique is so good.
Right.
Ojomo, you might be able to move. Don't know. I mean, because now you know he's going to be on the field a lot. You're going to play against him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's true. So when I go to camp, you probably do the same thing. Like I try not to write down last names when I'm taking. I just write down numbers because it's easier to see what numbers I'm repetitively writing as far as this guy off the edge or this guy in the middle or this guy nice block. And I did write down Ojulari. I think he's wearing 13, correct? Ojulari?
Yeah, yes, I know. Yeah. It's annoying. Yeah,
I know. It's so weird. Again, I'm still adjusting to these strange numbers, but I did write down 13 off because again, you can't hit the quarterback and everything is dink and dunk, so you're not even getting a great pass rush. But I thought the athleticism, looking spry, was there from Ojulari. Did you see anything from Uche? Because he didn't stand out to me, but I know others thought he.
I did watch the edges. Now Ojulari, I remember we talked about this like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When Ojulari started to come on, we're like, wow, he's only 6'2", but his arms are 34 3/8 or something.
Yes.
By the way, do you know that Moro Ojomo's arms are bigger and longer than Jordan Davis?
Wow.
Like 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, 30. I think let me just double check. I think it's 34 3/4.
Wow. So then Moro Ojomo next to Ojulari, that would be like the human gait. Like, how do you, if they just put their hands up?
Yeah, 34 and a half. Jordan Davis is 34. Wingspan for Ojomo is 83 and an eighth. For Jordan Davis, it is 81 and a quarter. Yeah, so Moro is really long.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been a great story so far.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? What? I know we talked about why he wasn't higher than the 7th round.
I'm trying to think, because did he get overshadowed by somebody on his own team?
There was some maturity stuff, but come on.
I remember that, but usually, like, to get knocked all the way into the 7th round, you got to have, like, really done something poor.
He should have been a 5th round.
We didn't get that. Yeah.
Should have been a 4th or 5th round pick.
Yeah. I'm not very surprised. I wonder, and he tested well athletically, not as well as Milton Williams, but he still tested well enough that you would have thought, he kind of been just one of those guys who slipped through the cracks. And if that's the case and the Eagles got him, God bless. They did a great job. And, the rest of the league will be like, how did we let that happen? But that happens. You see guys 5, 6, 7 round, all of a sudden they come into their own or they do really well. But there are so many teams that are obsessed with length and athleticism. And he has good.
That's what I mean.
It's surprising that he fell that low. Yeah.
His first step has always been known in scouting. And then being able to see it in practices the last couple of years, you just don't know if he's strong enough. The initial first step, he had an arm over move, which I liked in Saturday's practice, which was impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be interested to see on Ty Robinson. Did seem enough to really have, he's definitely a backup. It's just a matter of, are they going to play him at 4i, 310? Like we have to see and watch and see how they use him. But he most likely is going to be the backup to Ojomo. Now, is that for Ojomo? Is it he's getting 60%, Ty Robinson 30, Thomas Burger 10?
Right.
Byron Young. Oh, by the way, Byron Young is smaller now. Byron Young is not the longest guy. He's just kind of smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Ojomo looks longer to me than Byron Young. I'll look up the length, but he looks a little longer, Ojomo.
Yeah. When the pads come out this week, we really got to focus in on Gabe Hall because Vic Fangio kind of shouted him out like, hey, don't forget this guy, mentioning he's in the mix. The kid from Baylor who last year was on
Gabe Hall. Yeah.
The practice squad. Yeah. And listen, that's another sort of more, I don't want to say it's a Moro Ojomo story, but when you and I did the homework on him, there were teams that had grades on him, draftable grades on him, and he went undrafted. Again, maybe it was this or that, or the other, but the bottom line is he's here. He's been in the program for a year. He's learning under Clint Hurt, and he's the kind of guy that if he's got his head on straight and everything's good, he certainly has the talent to be in that mix.
All right. Technically, before we get back to Gabe Hall, was really long, his incredible measurables.
Yeah.
So Byron Young is actually taller than Moro Ojomo. His arm length is technically longer, but Ojomo has a longer wingspan. Don't ask me how they came up with this.
What does that mean? One's chest is broader because is your wingspan include your chest, right? They don't just take your arm lengths and add them. They do from one tip of your hand to the other.
Yeah. So Moro Ojomo is 83 and an ace wingspan. Byron Young is 81 and an ace wingspan, but Byron Young's arm length is longer, 34 and an ace, where Ojomo's is Byron Young's is 34 and 3 ace. Excuse me, that's longer than 34 and a half. So yeah, it's weird. He does, but I think what it is Byron Young's body's more compact. He looks a little smaller. Mm-hmm. He's more compact, I would say.
Okay, interesting stuff there. And Gabe Hall, you sensed also with the way Vic kind of pointed him out that there's some opportunity for him.
Yeah, look, he's got elite length. It's just he was one of these guys that needed to be challenged, that didn't apply himself in college. When scouting reports are pretty much the same in the NFL, that plays with low energy, needs to be motivated. I don't care how tall you are. You're probably not going to get drafted when teams know that you need to be challenged. Gabe Hall, 6'6", 34 and a half inch arms, wingspan 83 and 5/8. Do you notice a trend here?
Yeah. I think the Eagles like some Vic Fangio and Clint Hurt like guys with long. I think Clint Hurt and Vic just want guys that look like Clint Hurt, just like big enormous guys.
He's heavier, right? Yeah, Clint Hurt.
Yeah. But these guys can get upfield really well. When the pads come out, I think it's going to be fun. And because you see this too, right? You get a better viewpoint of the defense and the offense because the offense is always coming at you, and the defense's backs are to us when we watch. So we kind of get it. It's much easier to see the alignments, who's lining up where, the pass rush, everything from the defensive side than it is the offensive side.
Yep. And you want to go to edges?
Well, we talked about Ojolari and Hunt, but what else?
Yeah, no, what I want to add with Hunt is that he may but he may see more time on first and second, and Ojolari might wind up being the sub-package rusher over Hunt. It could happen. It's early. Or maybe Ojolari sees a majority of them over Hunt in passing situations. Because Hunt is not developed as a pass rusher yet. He needs a lot more time to develop as a pass rusher. Ojolari's there. He just has a bad injury history.
Right.
And it still might be it might be 65-35 or 60-40 play time, but majority of it to me for number 13, as you mentioned earlier, Ojolari, because I saw it in practice and it's been a lot like it. From what I understand, it's been a lot like this so far. You're seeing Ojolari a lot in pass rush situations where you're not seeing Hunt as much. Not like he isn't doing it, but you're seeing Ojolari more. So it's something to just keep an eye on.
Yeah, so for people who remembered our show with Greg Cosell last year, the weekly tape breakdown show called Inside the Tape with Greg Cosell, one of the first things we started to notice about Hunt as he played more, they started to play more on defense, less on special teams, is that for a guy who did not play the position very much in college, nor play it at a high level, his run defense is what kind of jumped out. His ability to shed a tackle and make a stop, especially on an outside zone run, I thought was pretty advanced for a guy who doesn't have a whole lot of experience at that. So what you're saying wouldn't surprise me, because when we talked about his development last year, we weren't just talking about as a pass rusher. We saw that in the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game. He certainly has great pass rush talent traits. But I was really impressed more so overall with how quickly he was able to assert himself in run defense. So while he still comes along, it would make sense to play him on first and second. And if you're just getting more natural pass rush moves, technique, experience from your edges, and one of them is Azeez Ojulari and the other is NolanSmith or whatever, however they do it, I could see that. I could also see them maybe kicking Hunt inside a little bit because he's a little bit bigger, I think, to play that kind of Brandon Graham interior rusher role from 2017.
Yeah, no, I think I got to watch this. I could have sworn I saw Hunt as a stacked linebacker on like a play. I gotta look for that, see if they keep doing it. It looked
he
like
might have been dropping back in a sim, like he's the out.
Could have been.
He starts on the edge and drops back. Yeah,
could have been. He seemed like he was in a stack position. But anyway, it's just something to keep an eye on because you're always looking to see what coaches see and see the development. But that was interesting. Other than that, on the edge. Nothing. NolanSmith is out there. He's healthy, so you don't have to worry about that. Other than that, Uche's there. Okonkwo is out there. That Obo's there. So and Power Island. I mean, he's running with threes, but he got a lot. I mean, I saw him run a little bit. And Patrick Johnson's back, as you know, number 48.
Nice. So this week or recently, I mean, Jahad Campbell had a press conference and said that when the pads come out, he's expected to be good to go. So, because he started off limited and we weren't sure we weren't even certain he was going to be practicing at this point in camp 2 weeks ago. So this is a great development. And the fact that when the pads come out at him, it seems like he's going to be out there with the pads on and playing and practicing with the team is really good development. And I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Well, and then you gotta then if he gets through it well, he may be working in preseason games, though they have 2 practices with Cleveland. Maybe they don't think he needs to be. We'll see. But it's everything, as I said, after the first practice, once we learned that we were surprised and Fangio was surprised that Campbell was going to be out there. Vic was hilarious what he said. Oh, the training staff, they like to underestimate, whatever the heck he said, underestimate when a guy's going to come back.
That was really funny.
But look, the fact that he's out there and he's almost all inside backer, a little bit of edge, they're doing some mental work with him as an edge rusher, but he's almost doing everything inside backer. He's in the works to be there starting inside backer next to Bond to start week 1. We'll see. Man, but it's in the conversation now.
Yeah, definitely incredible. And then if they can get him working in and learning his role in the sim package, I'm excited. I'm excited about all the different types of pass rushers that the Eagles have. Even Zach Bond, throw him in there because he lines up on the edge occasionally, and he'll rush from a sim in a sim pressure or a creeper pressure as well. So it's fun. They got a lot of different guys. All right, let's go to the corners. And the Ringo and Jackson thing is still going on here. The competition. It's not. We keep saying the competition right at left corner, but at this point we have to say the competition at the corner opposite Quinyon Mitchell, because Quinyon himself has been working at left corner, and then the other 2 have been working at right, because Vic Fangio himself said, I may need to trail or shadow this guy against the number 1 receiver. So he's had Quinyon Mitchell working on both sides of the field as well.
Yeah, it's way too early to know. It's too early. Like last year, we knew after a week that Isaiah Rodgers was way ahead of Ringo. It was kind of over, which is very rare that you would see a competition like that be over so quickly for it to be the third corner. But this one's completely open. Dory Jackson's healthy. He's smaller than Ringo. Ringo is long. And I'll say this about Ringo. And this is something I'd heard around the league on him. He'll be there, like downfield. He'll be there. It's the ball skills. It's tracking the ball. That's where it got kind of lost in the sauce. Like that's where he struggled a bit last summer, where Isaiah Rodgers is way better than him. That's something we're just going to have to improve. Now, as I mentioned on Saturday practice, he was right with Brown, and he was there. Brown could not catch it, but again, I thought he ran into AJ. But he's got length and he's got speed. It's everything else. So it's going to take a while to figure this one out.
All right. At safety, I had the opportunity when I was there to talk to we all talked to Blankenship, and I did ask him personally. I said, "Hey, is it on your mind, when you're out there that, it's a contract year for you? Is that tough?" And he looked at me and said, not even thinking about it, and then just completely looked away from me. And I could tell he did not want to entertain any of those kind of questions or talk about that. But it had to be asked. I do find it somewhat fascinating that he's going into the last year of a deal. He's a starter. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's played fairly well. I think he has a decent number of interceptions compared to those who are in the league at his position over the last 2 years. And nothing has been done so far. I don't mean talks haven't been had. I'm just saying an extension is not there. And you just wonder how long that's going to be. And I have no idea, but it at the same time, Adam, they've got these young safeties in Andrew Makuba and Sidney Brown. And of course, Tristan McCollum also working and mixing in the first team. And I just wonder about the whole dynamics of the position at this point.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that he does not have a deal yet. So here's his contract: 1.475 million base. 1.1 of it's fully guaranteed. That's it. There's nothing else. He's vastly underpaid. I'm surprised. I mean, his agent's got Terry McLaurin, so I understand he's there with Buddy Baker's working through that situation. But yeah, I'm a little surprised. Now the Eagles gave him a 1-year extension last year, worth just under $3 million, but he got a lot of that last year. I don't know, man. It's a little surprising. This is surprising that he doesn't have a deal yet. I mean, it could be a modest deal, just to.
Yeah, like Cam Curl was the same kind of story. Undrafted guy, became Washington's glue in the secondary.
Cam Curl was
I'm sorry, not undrafted, but 7, which is okay. So he's a little bit higher, but my point is, kind of an afterthought guy, makes a team, emerges into a pretty good player, but sort of felt the stigma of being a day 3 low drafted guy because the free agent market wasn't great. He still signed a 2-year, $9 million deal. So that gives you about 4.5. I mean, I don't know what the exact guarantees were, so maybe that's not there. But when you see what you just said, that Blankenship, who's had a similar type of career here, and if not better, right, he's making what? How much in this year of his last year?
Just under 1.5 million.
Right. I mean, he probably should be in the 3 to 4 neighborhood just based on a starting defense for a starting safety on a really
way more than that,
right?
No, way more than that. The Eagles have leverage here because he's not a free agent,
right?
But this is criminal for what he's making. This is just not right. I mean,
I know. I was being modest. He could make $5 to $6 million a year. He's a pretty
way more. If he was a free agent, he'd make way more than that. But he's not. I'm saying if he got loose.
Well, I'm asking if maybe we think that, but then again, Curl, who had I know he didn't win a Super Bowl, but he was considered the best player in Washington's secondary, and he felt that weight of being a 7th. He made a modest deal. So I don't know if that would be as coveted either. He's not the greatest athlete. You know what I'm saying?
I know. But he here's what we do know, and I understand. It's same in Major League Baseball. Sometimes the player's greatest value is to the team that he's with, rather than being on the free agent market. That's what kind of happened to Cam Curl.
Yeah,
his tape was really good. He's just not. Maybe it's because he's not a great athlete. Guys get knocked. That's just the way it is. Curl's a really good player, by the way.
Yeah, he didn't have interceptions, Curl, so that was held against him. He's not a playmaker. Yeah,
the production. It's not just.
I know. Teams think that they can. These teams think that these kind of guys are really good, but dime a dozen also.
What it is, it's not just interceptions, which are individual plays. It's did you make the play when you were there? Did you deflect it?
Right.
Did they throw it? Was your cut when you go through the tape? How great was his actual coverage? There's a lot of metrics that clubs use.
Yes.
Reed's underpaid, but good luck to him anyway. But here's the thing: if somehow he doesn't get a new deal, which again I'd be shocked, but if he doesn't, if he plays it out and doesn't get a new deal, here's the problem: Makuba's going to be a starter, whether it's this season or next year. He's going to start, and it's not out of the question that DeJean becomes a safety down the line. That's what you got to battle against.
Yeah. I agree. And the fact that DeJean is already practicing at safety and base. Now, granted, that is next to Reed, but it seems like the Eagles are like, we got plan Bs if I don't know. I want to say Reed has no leverage. He can't play hardball.
They have leverage. You're absolutely right. There's no question.
There's nothing he can do
leverage
about it. But this must frustrate his agent to nth degree because he's done everything he should do to get everybody else. Cam Jurgens got an extension. Same got a 3-year deal. Like it's like he's done everything and it's not there. And you don't know why.
He's an Eagle. He's an Eagle. Like this has been
right.
This has been a great story. He's a 2-year starter. He made the team in 2022.
Yeah,
became a starter in 23. Really took his game to the next level. He's as Greg Cosell tells us from people he's talked to, he's a tone setter for the defense.
Yeah.
What do we miss? What are we missing here with this guy? I don't know, man.
It's just listen. Sometimes things are fishy to me, and it could be a nothing burger. It could be a something burger. I don't know, but it's just fishy to me. That's all I'm getting.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
All right, good stuff. We're gonna do this again, and we're gonna try to get DeCecco on with us later in the week as we continue to observe the practices, get the intel, and share it with the people. That is going to do it for this episode of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles intel. And as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the bird. Be sure to check out our friends at PHLSportsNation.com. They're enhancing the fans' experience with their coverage of all Philadelphia sports teams. For the fan, by the fan is their motto. So make sure you check them out at PHLSportsNation.com and on Twitter at PHLSportsNation.